Story begins at the turn of the 19th century with Moser, a young entrepreneur born in, yes, you got it, Switzerland. Heinrich was born into a family of watchmakers, and as a young man, he followed the footsteps of his forefathers and learned the watchmaking trade. Soon after, he made his way to St. Petersburg and became the go to specialist for the aristocrats. He founded H. Mosers and Cie in 1828. Heinrich Moser aspired to produce timepieces that would demonstrate quality craftsmanship and mechanisms of the highest standard. His business prospered, and in less than 15 years, the name Moser had dominated the watch trade in Russia. Heinrich Moser died in 1874, and with no heir willing to take the reins, the company was sold. The new management continued Moser's activity in Russia until it was forced to leave before the October Revolution in 1917. Operations continued in Switzerland after 1953, and in 1979, with the Swiss watch industry in turmoil due to what is now known as the Quartz Crisis, the company became part of the Dixie Mechanique Group. I think I pronounced that right. A new turning point came in 2005. This year has great significance for the brand as it was the 200th anniversary of Heinrich Moser's birth. With the backing of the Mosers family, H. Mosers returned to the world of watchmaking. In 2012, the company was sold again, and the family owned MELB Holding Group acquired the company, beginning a new chapter in their history, and since then, they've never looked back. Today, H. Moser is producing 1,500 watches a year. To put that in comparison with Patek Philippe, that produces about 62,000 watches a year. As with the majority of independent watch brands, all of his watches are developed and constructed in house. So, what is all the hype for? Is it just a few good articles on Houdinki, or is there more? As always, today we're going to discuss some watches and what really makes these watches special. The first watch we're going to discuss today is the Endeavour Center Seconds. The watch is white gold and contains a funky blue fume dial, and it looks amazing. The colourful fume dials have become a distinct feature of H. Moser, and this is best shown in their Endeavour collection. The fact that a number of the collection dial options do not contain their name or logo just shows how beautiful and distinct these dials are. The dial has a depth to it that it's hard to explain. In certain lighting, it seems that the watch is glowing from within, playing to the whole romantic idea that the movement itself is alive within the watch. The dial is the centerpiece to the Endeavour range. Even though the range includes a flying hours, perpetual moon, a tourbillon, a perpetual calendar, minute repeater, and even a cylindrical tourbillon that was a collaboration with fellow independent watch brand MB&F. The center seconds is the winner for me. While I appreciate the craftsmanship and the skill that it takes to develop these complex movements, on the rare occasion, sometimes design can overcome them all. As we don't have time to discuss the whole range, here are the main specs for my favourite, the Endeavour Center Seconds. The case is white gold with a diameter of 40mm, containing their caliber HMC 200 that has a power reserve of 72 hours. The watch comes with a kudu leather strap and will set you back just over $22,000. When people think of the world of independent watchmaking, it would not be unusual for them to picture an old man working in a log cabin on the top of the Swiss Alps who probably hasn't had a good laugh in 20 years. But Moser is different. They've took many opportunities to poke fun at the watch industry, and now we're going to discuss some of their main watches. Be it their Swiss Mad Watch, embedded with Swiss cheese, designed to question the whole idea of what the Swiss made label really means, or is it the Swiss Icon Watch that somehow manages to take all of the hallmark designs from the most famous watches ever produced and somehow comes up with the world's most ugliest watch? On discussing the Swiss Icon Watch, Moser's chief executive was quoted as saying, "Many brands, even historical ones, create and produce nothing but substitute substance with artificial hype to stay relevant." He then goes on to say, reinforcing their efforts with prestigious events and paying ambassadors who have no links to watchmaking. It's all about who has the longest history, the most famous celebrity ambassador or influencer with the most followers. And to be honest, it's hard to disagree with him, but hey, that's the watch world. While this watch was later withdrawn with immediate effect and was no longer available to be sold, it still shows that they don't give a. But one watch that did develop out of Moser's kickbacks at big business was the limited edition Swiss Alp watch, which was a surprise hit when it made its debut in January 2016. The original Swiss Alp watch was limited to 50 pieces and soon sold out. If you haven't already figured out, yes, it's a dig at the Apple Watch. And going back on my discussion earlier about how the fume dial has a glowing appearance, the fume dial really lends itself well to the whole idea of this watch. The Swiss Alp was then re-released and named the Swiss Alp S. Is that a dig at the iPhone 6s that was released at a similar time? I'll leave that up to you. The watch retains the same case design in 18 karat white gold with a width of 38.2 millimeters in diameter and 44 millimeters long. The Swiss Alp has a beveled sapphire crystal which adds to the whole Apple Watch effect. The watch contains the beautiful HMC 324 caliper that fills the case back so well and is priced at just under 25,000. Well, that's the end of this episode of Independent Talk. If there's any brands you would like me to discuss, please leave them in the comments below. Also, please subscribe and like this content. The main goal of this whole series is to try and explain independent watchmaking and try and make it simple for all of us. Thank you and enjoy your day.